Mistakes in chess rarely come from ignorance. They come from feeling too much too early. The fear of losing, the obsession with winning, the blind trust in a plan that no longer fits. These aren't tactical errors. They're psychological traps, and no one is immune. In chess, material advantage often creates a dangerous illusion. A player who leads in captured pieces can easily fall into a psychological trap, believing they've already won. This overconfidence leads to carelessness, with simple checks and tactical threats dismissed as harmless. But chess is not arithmetic. It is geometry, timing, and control of the board. Many games are lost not because of fewer pieces, but because of worse positioning. Psychologists call this the overconfidence bias, a cognitive distortion, where individuals overestimate their own abilities based on partial success. In one famous example, a player with a 2-rook advantage ignores a quiet bishop move only to be checkmated 3 turns later. He had more power, but no plan. The board punishes those who confuse quantity with quality, and the moment you think you've already won is often the moment you start to lose. Across all levels of chess, one fear silently paralyzes decision-making: the fear of sacrifice. Players instinctively cling to their pieces, avoiding calculated trades that could open lines or unleash an attack. This psychological trap, known in behavioral economics as loss aversion, suggests people feel the pain of losing more intensely than the pleasure of gaining. Even when a sacrifice leads to clear initiative, many hesitate, frozen by what they're about to give up. In chess, fear often disguises itself as caution. A classic example appears in mid-level games: a knight sacrifice on f5 that could shatter the opponent's king defense. The opportunity is there, the math works, but the hand pulls back. The player retreats, chooses safety, and the chance disappears. Great players understand a brutal truth: no progress is made without risk. This unwillingness to sacrifice isn't just a strategic error, it's a crisis of courage. In the final moments of a rapid or blitz game, even grandmasters falter. The clock, once a neutral tool, becomes a psychological weapon, slicing away calculation, logic, and clarity. As seconds vanish, the brain shifts from analysis to survival mode, often leading to impulsive, unsound moves. This phenomenon, known as cognitive overload, reveals how the human mind struggles to perform under extreme time constraints. The greatest threat isn't your opponent. It's the ticking clock beside you. A famous example comes from a high-speed tournament where a player with mate in 2 panics and blunders a queen, all with 10 seconds remaining. His position was dominant, but his mind drowned in the noise of urgency. In time, trouble players stop thinking in plans and start reacting to ghosts. Chess under pressure is a psychological war, and managing your seconds is just as vital as managing your center. As we'll see next, pressure doesn't only come from time, sometimes it comes from pride. Anger is a silent saboteur on the chessboard. After losing a key piece, whether to a blunder or a tactical trap, many players abandon strategy and play emotionally. They lash out with reckless moves, hoping to punish their opponent rather than improve their position. Psychologists call this emotional reasoning, where feelings override logic, distorting perception of what the board actually demands. In that moment, it's no longer chess. It's ego disguised as calculation. One impulsive rook push, meant to intimidate, ends up leaving a king exposed. A hasty queen exchange turns out to favor the opponent. These revenge moves rarely achieve justice. Instead, they compound the loss. The best players suppress the urge to retaliate and ask instead, "What's the best move now?" regardless of what just happened. In chess, clarity is a weapon, and emotion is its deadliest enemy. In chess, plans are essential, but clinging to them too tightly can be fatal. Tunnel vision occurs when a player locks onto a specific idea, like launching an attack on the queen's side, and ignores every signal that the board has changed. This psychological trap, rooted in what's called confirmation bias, causes players to seek only the moves that support their original goal. Even when new opportunities arise or threats emerge, the mind filters them out. What began as strategic clarity becomes a blindfold. A player may build an elaborate setup for a flank assault, unaware that a mate in 3 sits quietly on the opposite side. By the time they notice, the moment is gone, and often so is the game. In chess, adaptability is as powerful as preparation. Great players revise their plans in real time, responding to what the board demands, not what they hoped for. But sometimes, even the best can fall victim to another kind of blindness, judging the board through the lens of status, not logic. Reputation casts a long shadow over the chessboard. When facing a titled player or a famous name, many opponents begin the game already doubting themselves as if the outcome is predetermined. This mental submission, rooted in the psychological concept of stereotype threat, causes players to underrate their own ideas and play timidly. Conversely, when facing a lower-rated or unknown opponent, overconfidence can slip in, leading to lazy evaluations and risky shortcuts. In both cases, the game is no longer about the board, but about the myth of who sits across it. Magnus Carlsen, world champion and master of psychological clarity, once said, "Play the board, not the player." His advice cuts through one of the deepest illusions in competitive chess. Titles, history, and ELO ratings carry weight, but they don't move the pieces. What matters is what's in front of you in this position right now. Because in chess, every new game resets the universe. In modern chess, openings have become a scientific obsession. Players memorize long, sharp sequences. Najdorf lines, Catalan setups, the Berlin defense, all drilled to near perfection with engines and theory. But once the game drifts into unfamiliar territory, many falter. Their preparation ends, and so does their confidence. A brain trained only for the opening forgets how to fight when the script disappears. This psychological trap creates a false sense of mastery. The player feels powerful in the first 15 moves, but disoriented afterward, like an actor who knows only Act 1 of the play. Critical decisions in the middle game or endgame become guesswork, not guided thought. True strength in chess lies in adaptability, in understanding principles, not just sequences. Chess punishes more than just bad moves. It punishes bad thinking. From overconfidence to fear, tunnel vision, to emotional revenge, each of these traps reveals how fragile even the strongest minds can be. The pieces follow logic, but the players don't always. And when emotion takes the seat of reason, the game slips away one subtle mistake at a time. In truth, your biggest opponent isn't across the board, it's within. But that's also what makes chess eternal. It's not just a test of memory calculation or theory, it's a mirror of your psychological discipline. To become stronger, you don't just need sharper openings or cleaner endgames. You need clarity, patience, adaptability, and the ability to recognize the traps your own mind sets for you. Because once you master that, the board finally starts to obey.